Hello viewers, welcome to this tutorial. In the previous session I taught you this code, okay, how to read from a file. But in this session I want to teach you a more reliable way of reading from a file. Why did I say more reliable? Check something out. Now in this tutorial, it's on the previous one, which is actually this code. It just teaches us how to read everything from the file as a big string. So there was one function which I taught you, which is the type class, okay, dealing with the type of data. So if I say my data, it kind of says it's a string. So do you know what Python actually does? The read classifies all this thing as one big string. So you cannot handle Ghana as a different entity, you cannot handle South Africa as a different entity. They are all classified as a big string. Those of you who are good at for loops, which I've already taught loops, just check my tutorials on loops. If I say for current value in my data, okay, and I try to print current value, check what happens. It's a mess. Okay, so this is what has actually happened, where I have each and every value Ghana. Look at it, has separated the values of Ghana, separated the values of all the countries I have. So actually that is not really reliable. So if you want to read, the advice is that if you want to read the data you have in your file as a big string, you don't want to modify it, you don't want to compare it to anything, then you kind of go with the read, okay. But if you want to access the individual values and you try to go like read line and you run the code, it gives you Ghana, okay. And if you want to access the individual ones, you go read line. So read lines is all of them, read line is just the first one. And if I run this code, see, it gives them to me, but it tries to give them to me with /n and everything, and you don't really need the /n. Now there is a way of omitting all this /n, which I've already done before, but I don't want to take you through the hassle of doing all this. So I want to teach you the reliable way of reading from a file. I repeated earlier, if you want to read the whole data of a file without doing anything with them, just use the read and access the file as such, okay. But if you want to do things with the individual countries, maybe you want to use the for loop and say if the country is Ghana, or okay, if the country is this, so you have your for loop and you have if statements within the for loop. CSV is a nice way of accessing values in a file. So let's jump into what is CSV. Okay, CSV is a library for Python. What is a library? Libraries are external functions, okay, not external as in third-party functions. You can call them third-party, but libraries are extensional instructions, okay, that we can access, and through that its instructions helps us to execute our code in a more preferable way. The definition I just made mention to you is not a standard definition, it's my own definition, okay. So it's like you in a wrestling match, you're fighting a wrestling and they are beating you, okay. If you want to beat your opponent, all you have to do is call your other partner. So if you call the other partner, it beats the opponent for you. So the other partner is what is called a library, okay. So you can't beat the person, you want your other partner to do all the job. So that's what the library actually does. So we want to learn about libraries, CSV. So libraries are just external resources, like external instructions that have been programmed to be able to do nitty-gritty jobs within our code. So instead of going through the hassle of removing the /n, removing all this, no, a library is available to do the job for us. So groups of instructions that will help us to execute our code in a more good, portable and preferred way, okay. So this is how to import a library in Python, any library at all. You first bring import and the name of the library. So we are accessing, not accessing. So we are accessing CSV, okay. So this is what we do, import CSV. Then after we import the CSV, we come and implement it within our code. So check the difference between this and a CSV, all right. So let me try to bring it here and let's check the difference. So my data equals CSV dot reader. Do you know the difference? And you bring your open and close parentheses, then we put in this name, my file here, all right. Okay, so we are good to go. So that's the difference. So with this, we bring my data equals, then my file, then dot read, okay. But with CSV, my data equals CSV dot reader. So the reader will be able to read the file for us. Don't forget, we are dealing with reading from files. Then after, we bring the name of the package here. You already know why I'm calling it package. Okay, so let me clean all this code. So if I do this and run my code, now I have, oh, I'm not printing anything. Okay, so print my data. Aha, so yeah, no, check something out. Really check something out. This is the reason I said don't have so many variables, because you see, if I made a mistake and typed my file instead of my data, it will print something else to me. Okay, so I really prefer using only one variable and just run the code. So if I run the code, it says this is CSV reader. Okay, so you see the difference between the my file and the my data. Okay, so check this out. If I print my file and I run the code, so the my file here, or the my file up there, is the IO wrapper, okay, which you already know about, and the CSV, or my data, it becomes a CSV reader. Now CSV classifies its values as a list. So just check it out. If you know what the list does, CSV is good for you, because you already know how to append to a list, you know how to manipulate a list, you know how to use indexes to access the values of a list. So it's good to use CSV. Now if I want to access the individual data within my CSV, I do for current value. You already know the for loop, okay, in my data. Then I bring this and say print current value. So if I run this code, check, it gives me each one of them in the list, so I can be able to use each one of these values, unlike the other one when I was receiving spaces in between them. So I can say if current value is equals Ghana, okay, then print, hey, this is my country, else print, hey, this is your country. Okay, so this is what I just want you to understand. If it is Ghana, then print this is my country. If not, print this is your country. But notwithstanding the fact you want to be printing each and every country as the for loop goes on. So you see, it prints each and every country. It says Ghana and say, hey, this is my country. Hey, this is your country. So this is why I say it's preferable to use the CSV. It gives you access to the individual files, or the individual data within the file. So you can do so many things with them, like running through the for loop, running through the if statement. So the focus now is being able to access access the list called my data. So you have each and every value within them. All right. So this is just the basic thing for this. Then we print the current value. Okay, so this is just the thing you have to know. So it gives us access to the individual values we have to understand. So it's good to use CSV, and it's good to understand some basic concepts within. So this is just for this tutorial. The next tutorial I'll teach you more advanced of what a CSV does, so we don't hover over walking around not really knowing what it is. If this is complex for you, don't worry, check the next tutorial. I'll really go deeper into it, and you appreciate it. Subscribe if you have not, like the videos if they're informative for you, and hit the bell so you get more updates. Thank you.